Once upon a time, I contemplated June books. This was a haiku. Hey everybody, welcome back to BellTube. I'm Brian Bell. Today we are talking about the June 2024 TBR. I cannot believe we're already into June, but here we are. All right, so starting at the 1st of June, I'm going to be reading The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. Now, this is part of a group that we've formed called the Quiluminati Book Club that consists of myself, Mike from Mike's Book Reviews, Philip Chase from Philip Chase, The Best of Fantasy, and of course, John Minton from Talking Story. What a cool group of guys that I'm going to be able to chat with. Our chat's going to be sometime in June, probably late June, over on Mike's channel. Might slip into July, but it just kind of depends on everybody's schedule. But I've not read any books by Simon Jimenez, and John thought, since none of us had read The Vanished Birds, it'd be a great place to start our book club. So you've heard it here first. If the book is excellent, it was a group decision to read The Vanished Birds. If the book is terrible, it is all John's fault. So, you can go over and watch his channel and blame John. So, of course, I'm kidding. Or am I? Da-da-da. All right, that's the first book. The second book that I'm going to be reading in the month of June is Back to the Sun Eater. This is Sun Eater Book 6, Disquiet Gods. I finished Ashes of Man in May. We'll talk about that when we do the May recap, but I'm very excited to see what Hadrian Marlowe, our main character protagonist, is getting up to in Disquiet Gods. I know it's the penultimate in the series of the Sun Eater, with only one more big book coming out after this, so it's kind of time to start tying up some ends and wrapping up and figuring out why he's the Sun Eater and exactly what sun he's going to be eating. Maybe they said so already in one of the books. I think they did. But the story is excellent. I've had a few issues with the last couple of books that I'll talk about in the May recap. But yeah, after I get done with The Vanished Birds, Disquiet Gods is up next on the TBR. I'm looking forward to it. Now, the third book that I'm going to be reading in the month of June is by an author named Antaro Sparaboom, and I apologize deeply if I got that name wrong. This is a book called The City of the Seventh Moon, and it is part of the Spiff Box competition, SPFBO X, I guess, self-published fantasy blog off number 10. I happen to be on Team Philip Chase as kind of like a sub-reviewer or a sub-judge, and I've been given 5 books to read as part of Team Chase, and this is the one that I'm going to start off with, and I'm going to do one a month from June till October to get the 5 books that I've agreed to judge wrapped up. I don't know what this is about at all. I haven't read a synopsis, but I'm looking forward to it because there are many entries in last year's Spiffbo competition that I read that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I think it's going to be kind of fun to come back at these independent books as more of kind of a critical eye to see where it stacks up with a lot of other books that I'm going to be reading. So you're definitely going to hear more about Spiff Box from me because for the next 5 months I'm going to be reading a book a month for it. I'll get back to you and let you know what I think. Now, before we get into the next book, and that was a community poll that we took, and I'll get into that in a minute, but I first wanted to thank everybody who has liked the channel and subscribed to the channel already, especially some of you Patreons. And if you don't know what our Patreon's about, there's a link in the description. I actually think I'm going to lower the price on it a little bit to make it a little bit more accessible. But the cool part is because of Patreon, I've been able to hire kind of like a side correspondent to come in and help me with the channel a little bit, which is going to be great. We're going to go to him now. We're going to find out a little bit about what his plans are in June. If you've not heard of him before, he was very popular in the 80s. He's a synth pop icon. I'm sure you guys have all heard of him before, but I was able, through the grace of Patreon and through all of you guys watching the channel, I was able to put him on retainer. So without any further ado, I want to welcome in Rick Thunder. Rick, how are you? What are you planning on reading in June?
Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Thunder, and I'm back.
Yeah, that's great, but what are you planning to read in June?
Well, you know, I like my books to have kind of like a motley crew. And so I'm going to read The Dirt by Motley Crue.
You know, I read that book. It's fantastic. I'll tell you what, we'll check back in with you, Rick, if you're cool, and you can let us know what you thought of the book.
Oh, it'll be going great, because I'm Rick Thunder, and I'm back, and that's a fact.
Rick Thunder's information, opinions, and stated facts, especially his facts, may be incorrect due to a series of keyboards in the hot tub related electrocution accidents.
So one of the cool things about our BellTube community is we have a pretty vocal community, and I put out a poll earlier this week asking you guys, what would you like me to read of these 4 books that I put out there? I'd be fine reading any of them, but I wanted you guys to have some input in the June TBR, and I think we're going to do this moving forward every month. Now, I can't believe this, but over 4.2 million votes were cast. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. Over 3.7 million votes were cast, and the winner with 39% of the vote is Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. I know it's sci-fantasy. This is a book that Jimmy Nuts has talked about with me on his show, Chatting with Nuts. I really don't know much about it at all. John from Talking Story has said not only is it a great book, but it's a great film. I'm excited to get into it. Thanks to you guys, the BellTube community, Cloud Atlas is on the June TBR. I will report back. Moving on into the world of LitRPG, and yes, I am going to make a LitRPG fan out of some of you. I know it. This is a book that I've been having on my TBR for about the last 3 months. I just haven't been able to get to it, but I will be listening to The Primal Hunter by Zogarth in the month of June. I'm quite excited for it. It seems like a lot of you have not only read it, but found it funny and excellent in terms of the mechanics of LitRPG. I'm ready for a new series in LitRPG. If you've been watching the channel at all, you know that I'm on like book 10 of He Who Fights with Monsters, book 15 of the good guys, book 11 of the bad guys. So starting with the book 1 is pretty appealing. I'm going to be hitting The Primal Hunter in June. Another LitRPG book that I really would like to get to in June is Timeless. This is Awaken Online Book 7, right? So talk about getting through all these big series. I really love Awaken Online. If you missed it, I'll put, a little card up here somewhere on places that are good starting spots in LitRPG. I made that video last week, but Awaken Online is fantastic. I haven't figured out quite yet if I'm going to do it on Audible or if I'm going to just read it. It comes down to my sight reading time. Because the cast has gotten so large on Awaken Online that I'm not sure that the narrator has it in him to separate and distinguish between voices. And I just kind of want to take a look at the summary and find out if it's a tighter group of characters this time around or if it's the all-encompassing cast. Because if it is, I'm probably going to sight read it. I don't know when, because the other books that I mentioned are quite, onerous in terms of size, but we're going to get to it one way or the other. Timeless, Awaken Online, book 7, coming up in June. Another book that I'm going to be reading in June, it's the shortest of the bunch. It's called All the Horses of Ireland. Now, I don't know anything about this book. It's by somebody named Sarah Tolley. Evie from She Was Only Evie has recommended this book, and I'm interested. A lot of the reason, honestly, it's like 112 pages. So because I have some longer items on the list this month, I'm looking forward to a novella. I don't do a whole lot of novellas, as you probably know. I think it's historical fantasy. I'm not entirely sure, but I can certainly give it, 100 to 120 pages. No problem. We'll rock that out in June. So those are some incredible books that I'm really looking forward to reading in June. It's really nice to organize these lists. I have to tell you, BookTube really does kind of force some organization on you if you want to make consistent videos and if you want to have a plan that is not only suitable for yourself, but also for your viewers. And that leads me to the one for the road today, and that's going to be about organization and kind of cleaning up the shop around your place. It's a quick one, but I think it's pretty useful. If you can, here's my challenge today. Find an area in your life. It's probably going to be something physical, okay? Maybe it's a room in your house or a room in your apartment or a drawer or whatever, and spend about 10 minutes cleaning it up. tidy it up. The energy that having a clean space gives me personally is incredible. And I know it's kind of easy in today's world to let things pile up, but I know each and every one of you has 10 minutes today to try to sort something out. Sort out a cupboard, a drawer, a room, whatever it is, spray down a bathroom, I don't really care. But those 10 minutes are 10 minutes well spent because the energy of your surroundings will improve, your personal feelings will improve. I think you're going to find some value there. That's what we've got for the June TBR. I'm very excited. I know today is a little bit of a shorter video, but these TBR videos, they don't take that long to do. What does take a little bit longer to do is to recap, and that's what you're going to get from me next week. You're going to get 2 videos, a book haul for May, which is absolutely bonkers, you guys. There's over 20 books that I hauled in May. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to do the May wrap-up. 1 week from today, you're going to get the May wrap-up video. And yeah, we have a lot to talk about. But until then, stay positive. And of course, here's your fortune.